one that Kathy would have to do.
MGM.
Okay, let's do it. So we'll do MGM. Okay, good evening. This is the Town of Ossining Planning Board meeting for the October 2nd, 2019. Let's go around the board.
Gareth Huffam, board member.
Sean? Ching Wen Chen, board member.
Jim Macinas, board member.
Nancy Arcia, consulting engineer of the planning board.
Sandy Nelly, secretary to the planning board.
David Stallman, town planning consultant.
Okay, we're just going to move the agenda around to have the MGM subdivision 5 Hawks Avenue proposed 2-lot subdivision move first. Is there any objections from the applicant at this point?
No.
Okay. The applicant's aware there's only 3 members on the board right now. Is that any issues with you at all?
I don't believe so, no.
And we're not voting on anything.
Right, fine. Just wanted to make sure the applicant was aware of that.
Yeah, sure.
Although I assume he can count.
Use this to, oh, you navigate around on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Tom Kerrigan, engineer for Site Design Consultants on this project. It's a 2-lot subdivision at 5 Hawks Avenue, town of Ossining. After the last meeting that we were here for, we received comments from Mr. Solman and Mr. Ciarcia. In between the time we addressed those comments, we went to the site. We did additional stormwater. Well, we did stormwater testing. We finalized the stormwater plan and prepared a SWIP and submitted that to Mr. Ciarcia. The few things that have changed since that we'd like to point out. One, Mr. Huffman expressed concern about a riprap swale running from along the southern property line into the Dale Brook. We've looked at that and we intend to remove that, convert it into just a grass line swale. In addition to that, there was a culvert bridging a gap there, and our concern was that if we swaled the whole way, we'd have to remove additional trees. During the visit when we did this testing, we looked at it and determined that those trees would need to come out with the culvert anyway, so we just proceeded with a swale so that it's a more natural looking feature. There isn't a big pipe there. Another item we brought up was at the last meeting was the property further to the south, closer to Hawks Avenue. There was concern about it lining up with the
driveway.
Right. So if you look now, we shifted it further south.
You can actually show it on the other drawing.
On the site plan?
Yeah, it shows both driveways.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
There it is. There's the pan option. Oh, I think it's just over here.
Actually, one of the drawings does show both driveways.
Yeah, this.
Not the really small one.
Oh, yeah, it could be the urban plan. Right.
There you
So
go.
we shifted it further south so that they were more directly lined up. The homeowner at this address wanted us to move it further to the further offset from his driveway, but we couldn't get it shifted further without taking down some substantial trees as well as grading issues that made it more difficult. So what we did, we made it directly across the street, which is the DOT's preference in this situation. They don't want them to be slightly staggered. They'd rather than be further apart or directly across. So we ended up going directly across the way. Those are all of the major changes since the last submission. There are a few things that we are still getting together. A landscape plan, included in that will be screening along the southern property line, and will also include as well as in the mitigation plan, the replacement of the trees that remove the 50% caliper requirement. And that will be provided at a later date. We're still preparing that. That's pretty much it since the last time we were here.
Have you had a chance to take a look at the staff's comments?
I've looked at them. For the most part, they are in regard to the mitigation plan, which, as I said, we're still being worked on and we'll be submitting it. There's one thing about the conservation easement and moving it to encompass more of the buffer. We will certainly do that. Another item on stopping site distance, which I can speak to so on about separately. It's a minor change, just to clarify the requirement. And then on Mr. CRC's comments, we will, once we sort of have everything squared away, we will provide the plat that he requests, and the details and the information that he requests as well.
Staff have any comments at this time?
I think Tom covered it quite well, so.
Are there any members of the public who are interested in this matter? Apparently none. All right, what's the next step on this matter?
I'm sorry?
What's the next step on here?
Could set a public hearing.
You ready to set a public hearing? Do you have a comment?
Oh, actually, yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you want to go?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Just looking over the short form,
Yeah.
the EAF, thank you. And just a couple of minor corrections.
Okay.
On page 2 of 4, item number 14, it says identify the typical habitat types that occur on the project site. Check all that apply, and you check suburban, but you left unchecked wetland. And I think it's important that that be documented.
I will check. There are portions of that form that are automatically filled in. I'll make it. There obviously is wetland on the site, so I will make sure that's checked.
Right.
It could be that it automatically.
I don't want to be scoldy, but automatic is no
I
excuse.
understand.
Yeah, okay. Another thing is on page 14, under stream channel protection, it says this requirement is for the protection of streams, stream channels from receiving erosion velocities. This is not required for this project since the discharge of runoff is to a hardened channel. But the discharge from the swale you were just speaking about is to a natural stream.
Right. We will. I believe that was a holdover from the riprap swale, and that would, by virtue of its existence, sort of
That would have
dissipate
been the
energies.
hardened, okay.
Right.
So if you could
Right.
update this.
We will. It's still not a concern because part of the stormwater review was analyzing the amount of flow going to the stream, and we are attenuating it significantly. So
Okay.
it's still not a concern.
Okay.
I'll make sure that's.
I accept that it's not a concern,
Yeah.
but just for the sake of the record. And one last, even more minor point. On page 2 of the diagrams, you show the stream as being named Dale Brook. And it was good, but not perfect, that you said Dale Brook tributary to Kilbrook. So I would prefer it to say tributary to the Sing Sing Kill, which is the formal name. Kilbrook is a commonly used but incorrect name for the stream that this becomes part of. So if you could make that change, that would be good.
It's the Sing Sing Kill.
Sing Sing Kill, yeah. which of course discharges to the Hudson River. That's all I have.
Any other comments? All right, what time do you think you'll be ready for a public hearing?
We can address Mr. Solomon's comments and Mr. CRC's comments certainly by, I believe, is the submission date next Monday? Usually
Okay.
is.
For a public hearing, we probably have to do it on November 6th.
Okay, and the submission date for that is usually 2 weeks before, so sometime middle of October?
It'd be October 28th.
Okay, I believe we would have everything together by then, yes.
So we'll set a opening of the public hearing for November 6th then. Okay. Have a resolution for that, or do we just
Yeah.
say?
You usually do.
Okay. Any? I need a motion.
Oh, motion to.
Second.
Okay, no objections? Date set? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, the next item on the agenda is the Rinaldi subdivision, 39 Farmingtown Road, proposed 10-lot subdivision, continuing the public hearing.
Put your plan up.
I'll put it back to you.
Good evening, J.B. Hernandez, architect for the project. We've been distributing a draft resolution by Mr. Tolman, and in review of the resolution, we noticed that some of the items that we spoke to last time have been incorporated into the resolution. Just want to go over those items that since last time we did our presentation to the board. And it's incorporated into the resolution that the retaining wall at the edge of the cul-de-sac will be built within the property line, including its footing. It will have a curb containing stormwater runover, and also have a stone veneer. Also, there's a mention of waiver requirements, and I think that if we had to do it in writing or as part of the resolution, the client is looking to ask for a waiver on street lights and sidewalks. So this site is not conducted to that. Also, we have, part of that, the other item that we have was this, the number of street trees that we need to provide. So we're gonna add red maples every 50 feet that's required by, I'm sorry. Did I just? I didn't mean to. Okay. I better give this back before I.
Yeah.
So we, by adding the street trees as required by the code, we're gonna end up adding an additional 28 red maples. So before we were 724 caliper inches that we were replacing, now we're gonna be 791. So we doing more than 50% of the required replacement.
It hasn't been shown yet, right?
No, that's part of the, it will be done as part of the.
So we'll leave.
741.
We'll leave the 741
Yeah.
for the preliminary approvals.
Yeah. And also we'll be addressing that we had provided site distance calculation for 10 feet. We will do that at 14 and a half, which
Sure.
should be no issue.
Right.
Also want to point out that we just received prior to the meeting comments from the environmental advisory committee. Just want to point out that we did work with them, as they pointed out, like 9 months ago, 10 months ago. We walked the property and they have reviewed our project. And I'm looking at these comments, it seems to me that most of these comments are already incorporated. I mean, it talks about flooding, the stormwater design is in accordance with the town standard, as well as DEC, so we mitigate water quality and quantity, and then we do it for the 100-year storm. So all of that takes into account the removal of trees and impervious area. So we comply by code. Also, it talks about the known chemicals, most of the area, most of the steep slopes that we have here are everything, all the lawns that we are creating in these lots are being contained by the curb, and we have a Coltex system under the road that will take all the stormwater runoff and it will contain it within the property. So there will be no runoff of stormwater or chemicals into the adjacent property. The only two properties that have a little bit of grass near the Simpson Hill will be these two, and as you can tell, there is a steep slopes there behind the property, so there's more, it's not conducive to have a great lawn area there. And as per most of the comments that the board indication of that, I think those are kind of covered by the resolution. So I think if the board has any question, I think if we can talk about the hearing today.
Any comments?
I have one comment, or a question and then perhaps a comment. Can you, I think last time we looked at this, we didn't know the exact height of the retaining wall down by the cul-de-sac.
The retaining wall is going to be concrete, and it's going to have a stone veneer, and it's going to have a curb, so there's going to be a containment.
Right. And so what is the exposed height of it?
That's about 6 feet right now.
6 feet
Yeah.
exposed, okay. And the stone veneer, I believe you agreed would be natural stone?
Yes.
not- Okay. And do you have an idea of the styling of that stone veneer yet?
At this point, we don't, but we will.
Okay.
As we go along with the final.
Okay.
It looks like you have a guide rail there.
Yes.
I think if it's 6 feet of height, we're probably going to need a fence on top of there as well for
Okay.
safety purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, so later on down the line, I would like to
Just like
have
we've
the
done in
board
the other
agree on the
applications,
style
yeah.
of that
Stone.
veneer.
That's no problem.
Okay, great. Just because the tour view
Yeah.
is below that and, you know, a wall.
We'll
would
provide an
be-
elevation and
would
we
be an
can write
important
some
visual
samples on the
component.
stone too.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, staff have any comments at this time?
Only regarding the resolution, a couple of things, very, very minor things to change. And you've had this since last Friday, so I don't know if you want to go through the whole thing, it's pretty lengthy, or just, let me tell you what the two comments are. On page 5, this is part of the negative declaration. Item number 13, it says in the second sentence, the additional traffic generated, that should be by the 9 additional homes. And the same kind of change on page 6 in number 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth line down, it would read, will not cause the permanent population of the town to grow by more than 5% as 9 additional single-family residences, et cetera, et cetera. Must have had MGM on my mind or something.
Andy, any comments at this time?
The comments we had from our previous memo have been incorporated into the resolution you have before you, so I'm satisfied.
And I understand that basically there's a preliminary approval, so.
Preliminary plat approval, so in the now therefore be it resolved on page 2, it talks about, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. What I meant was in the be it further resolved on page 6. Thanks, Captain. The planning board hereby grants preliminary subdivision plat approval to the project as expressed on the preliminary subdivision plat drawings, subject to compliance with, to the planning board's satisfaction, matters including but not necessarily limited to the following during the course of the final subdivision plat review and approval process. And then we've listed 11 conditions that we know of, regarding things we know of at the moment. And the item number 2 says, the final subdivision plat application shall contain detailed engineering information, including but not limited to the types of engineering information shown on the preliminary subdivision plat drawings. All such engineering information shall be prepared to the satisfaction of the planning board engineering consultant. Such information shall address matters including but not limited to. And then we have A through P. So this is really just preliminary approval subject to a whole variety of conditions, and the door remains completely open to the planning board bringing up new things as well.
Okay, and so we expect that the environmental advisory committee's concerns would be fully addressed by the time this process is completed.
They've been addressed to the satisfaction of us in terms of the negative declaration, but you can continue to fine tune things as you go forward. That's what the final plat approval is for.
Any comments?
Nope.
Are there any members of the public interested in this matter? Okay, seeing none. What's the next action on this matter?
You would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as amended.
Should we close the public hearing?
Oh, yes, JD, you should be sitting here.
Okay, there's no comments from the public. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
No objections? Okay, then motion to approve it as amended, the resolution as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. No objections? Approved?
Thank you.
I wanted to thank the Environmental Advisory Committee for their comments, and hope that they'll continue to monitor the matter going forward. Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank
to go
you.
into- Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Have a motion to go into executive session?
I make that motion.
Thanks. Okay, we shut?
Red light's still on.
Yeah, still, all right.
Shall we go into the
I
next
guess we
one?
can go to the next room and take us longer.
They're going into executive session.
Do you want
Minutes. Second.
Okay, and no objections to that, so they're adopted as well. So, yeah, both sets of minutes, July 17th and August 21st, have been adopted by resolution. Thank you.
And then do you want to make a motion to go into executive session and then adjourn after executive session, so we won't be coming back on camera?
Okay, I have a motion to that effect.
Second.
Okay. No objections, so that's fine. Good night.